The Suns have fired their general manager, Ryan McDonough, just a little over a week before the start of the season. Nick, how do you feel about the timing of this?
Woof. What are they doing, guys? Come on now, week before it all starts?
Yeah, it's odd.
Wait, I want to play counter-argument.
Okay.
You know, these guys all get fired in mid-April, right after the season starts.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. That's 9 weeks before the draft. There are no more live games to scout. You got to completely retool your basketball operations department. Oh, wait, by the way, free agency. And what are those plans going to change? What if this new guy doesn't like who the old guys like? I almost like this because if the whole deal is, let's give a stress test and a dry run to James Jones, I would rather do it on the eve of the season because the conflicts that are going to be introduced during the season are, hey, two players don't like each other. Who's going to arbitrate this thing? Sounds like a job for James Jones. Hey, an agent is calling angry because his kid isn't getting the playing time that he was promised. Well, Ryan said this. Who's going to arbitrate that? So I actually think, in a weird way, all these firings that happen in April totally upend everything on the eve of kind of all the big stuff. Rather do it now.
Yeah, I would say, and hold on to that thought because I'll get to that in a second. By the way, hey, welcome to the job.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, I'm Jorge Sedano, in for our fearless leader, Rachel Nichols, our insiders, Kevin Arnovitz, and Nick Friedell. The Suns, by the way, are splitting up McDonough's duties to Vice President of Basketball Operations James Jones, as you mentioned, Kevin, and Assistant General Manager Trevor Buckstein on an interim basis. Jones will manage the basketball operations while Buckstein will be the primary contact for player transactions. So, Kevin, we're going to ask about how desirable the Suns' job is, but to your point earlier...
That was a teaser, as we say in television.
Yeah. But to your point earlier, you let McDonough make all those decisions that will impact this season. If you knew you didn't want him to be around potentially, why let him make all those decisions to impact this season?
I cannot get inside the head of one Robert Sarver. Few can, right? I mean, he's the owner of the league. And to answer your question, how desirable it is, hey, there's one of 30 jobs.
Right.
So they're all desirable if your goal is to run an NBA basketball team. He is an owner who has a reputation from pretty much everyone who has ever worked at the highest level for him for being difficult.
Impulsive, for sure.
And somewhat of a meddler as owners go. But I just think that, again, I think there's so many facets to the job right now. And again, what I like is if James Jones, who's still recently retired, kind of an Elton Brand mold, a guy who's a quick study, has a knack for, is intelligent, has a knack for management.
Players love him.
Players love him. And it seems to be a very quick study. I kind of like the season rather than, do you want the dry run to be in April, May, and June?
That's fair. Nick, what do you think?
It's the Suns, so it's a recipe for disaster. That's the way I'm looking at it. I mean, every time that Sarver has gotten in the middle of things, and this goes back years, guys, as we know, every time it's a mess. And so, Kevin, to your point, I understand the argument. I understand, yes, if this were a different team, maybe you can start fresh right before the year. But, George, I'm with you. You made all these decisions throughout the summer to build this team, and now you're letting the guy who supposedly built this team walk away, and he's gone. I mean, Sarver continues to always make things much messier than they need to be.
Well, and look, all you need to know is Steve Nash is not interested in being involved in the day-to-day. Like, he likes his consultant role with the Warriors, because who wouldn't like their consultant role with the Warriors? But this is his franchise. Like, you would think that this would be something that if he felt was the type of undertaking that made a lot of sense, that he would jump at an opportunity like that, right? Or at least consider it.
I think Steve Nash's life is about picture perfect, and working in basketball operations, I mean, look, all of us would love to be NBA GMs. Every fan in America thinks they can be a GM.
I think I can, Robert Sarver, if you're interested.
But I think NBA GMs, by the way, NBA GMs are some of the least happy people you ever met.
Always miserable.
But look, let's look at the record. I think that's the most interesting thing. So he comes in the spring of 2013. They get the number 5 pick. It is Alex Lynn, who is now on the scrap heap in Atlanta. T.J. Warren's been a nice role player. 14th has definitely justified his draft slot. Devin Booker's been a great pick. Papagiannis was actually traded for Marquise Chris, but they also parted with some other decent assets in that pick. Bender doesn't seem interested in shooting the basketball. Who else do I have here? Josh Jackson. Jury's out.
Okay, maybe.
Not looking great. Might fulfill his defensive potential, but the offense.
And Ayton has looked great thus far in preseason.
And then they traded also an unprotected first from Miami and Zaire Smith for Mikal Bridges. So we'll see if that works out. But by and large, look, 2013, the job was rebuild. It's 2018. It's been 5 years.
It's still rebuild.
They're going to be the 14th best team in the Western Conference.
They're the Western Conference Orlando Magic.
Yes.
Yeah, basically, that's a great way to describe them.